Hello, friends. I hope you're enjoying these early summer days. Working out here in the garden first thing in the morning while the air is still cool is one of my favorite things to do. It has been so beautiful here in central North Carolina with a perfect mix of rain and sunshine. My daughter and I planted these corn a few weeks ago, and now they need to be thinned out as we put 2 seeds in each hole, and every single one of them sprouted. I had a feeling that the seeds would all sprout, but I planted extras just in case. As I sit down and harvest these peas, I wanted to talk about something that a lot of people always ask me, and that is, Maggie, how do I become a good gardener? Or how did you become a good gardener? And I think one of the things that is kind of like a false idea or a false just a false idea about gardening is that there is this like magical green thumb. Like I always hear people say, oh, I don't have a green thumb, I don't have this magical ability to be able to work in the garden, work with plants. And I think that's false, and the reason why I think it's false is because I believe gardening is like any other skill. I think it's one of those things that genuinely anybody can learn. I think it's one of those things that it just perhaps it comes easier for some people, especially if you grew up around gardeners, whether your parents or your grandparents, or you grew up on a farm. But if you didn't, it can kind of feel daunting. It can kind of feel like, oh man, like how are people doing this? How are people getting these big yields in their garden? And it's a skill. It's a perfectly learnable skill. I'll give you an example. When I was a teenager, I really, really wanted to learn how to bake. And I did not know how to bake. My mother did not bake. Nobody in my family really baked. So, but we all loved our sweets, right? We all loved our sweets. So I really wanted to learn how to bake. And I was talking to my mom about this the other day, and she was like, and I was like, Mom, do you remember when I was a teenager and I was like learning how to bake and I was constantly baking stuff? And she made a joke. She was like, yeah, I remember how you were wasting so much money in groceries. And that is because I burnt a lot of stuff. Burnt a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff was undercooked, overcooked, or just tasted bad. I remember my first attempt of making pecan pie, which I still haven't mastered to this day, if I'm being perfectly honest, but it was so bad. My first apple pie that I ever baked, I burnt. Just like a lot, just a lot of failures, a lot of trial, a lot of failures. But today, all of these years later, I can consider myself a decent baker. I bake a lot of stuff for my children, all of their birthday cakes. I bake cookies, I can bake bread, I can bake a lot of things. Like we're pretty much baked goods independent in our households. We don't buy bread, we don't buy, store-bought cookies or anything like that. I just bake it myself. But in order to get to this point, it was a lot of trial and error. And I remember obsessively watching YouTube videos or reading books that I would get from the public library, recipe books about baking. And that's how this skill grew over time. And if you want to become a better gardener, it's kind of the same way. So I'm just harvesting these peas and I'm cutting off at the roots and I'm leaving the roots in the soil to decompose. I'm not pulling them up so as to not disturb the soil too much. And look at these beautiful little peas. There are so many aphids. Like it's actually insane the amount of aphids that's on these peas. But I'm grateful that um, we still got a decent harvest. I was really worried. I saw the aphids on here starting from several weeks back, to be honest with you. Um, And I was really worried if we were going to get a harvest at all, but we have, and that's like such a beautiful blessing. And as I see these aphids, let me show you. There is still a little ladybug. Do you see it? Amongst all of the aphids. Look at them. There are literally thousands of them just everywhere, happily existing amongst my peas. And look at that ladybug. She's in heaven. Lots of food for her to eat. This is the first part of our harvest. We still have more peas to go and harvest. Here is our entire pea harvest of 2025. It looks small, but this is still really good. It's going to make quite a bit of food for us. This is actually my second time harvesting. The first time I came and we just picked a few peas with my kids and they had so much fun doing it. And we shelled some and I froze them because they were so small we couldn't really cook anything with them. So once I shell all of these, I'm going to go ahead and actually use them for cooking. Do you see the amount of just press pressure that is on here? They're being eaten up like crazy, and it's getting to the point where most of the leaves I can't even eat. So it's time for them to go. They've had their time in the garden. They've produced lots of food for us, but it's time to say goodbye to the kale plants. Definitely in fall, I will be planting more kale. But for now, what we have is enough. Once the temperatures start to cool down, I'm gonna come back and put some more kale. Probably in a different bed, but I'm still so happy because we have a lot of kale in my freezer. We've had the opportunity to freeze so much kale this year. So that's something that we're very grateful for. These are in decent, oops, you see that? Oh, look at these little eggs. These are probably cabbage worm eggs that's on there. Yep, that's a little cabbage worm right there. I don't know if you can see that, but they are, I might not even save these. There's too many worms and they're eggs. I'm not gonna save them. It's fine. It's fine. The cabbage worm pressure has been intense over the last few. Oh yeah, they got their eggs on everything. Anywho, let's go ahead and get into these carrots. They are really short, but they're really thick, and I don't know why they aren't growing long. I'm trying to remember if it's the variety. I actually don't remember the variety that I planted. I don't know, because I know that there are some varieties that are just going to be short but really thick, but they didn't grow long, and I don't know why. They've been in the garden for 90 days, so they should be pretty much at their maturity. I might leave some in the garden just to see what happens if they continue to grow. But I'm afraid that with the heat, maybe they'll just decide to go to seed. I remember I had some seeds of a variety called short and sweet. I wonder if this is them. Because we harvested some last night and we ate them and they were really sweet. So flavorful, like really, really flavorful. So I'm thinking these are the short and sweet variety. Yeah, that's probably what it is. Well, that's disappointing. I was hoping for longer carrots, like bigger, not necessarily like bigger round, but like longer, like, you know? Oh well. Then I go ahead and harvest this chard, which miraculously, I am just amazed at how well this has done. The heat doesn't seem to be bothering it. So far, oop, see, I was gonna say I don't have pests, but look at that, I've got a slug. But generally, compared to the kale and the collard greens, these chard have just done amazingly. And big. These ones are on this bed. I just love this plant. I love chard so much. I would say of all the greens that you can grow, this is definitely my favorite. I just love how it produces so well. It seems to be so heat tolerant, so pest tolerant. God willing, it stays that way, and we will continue to have a good harvest throughout as long as we can. Throughout as long as we can. Look at how beautiful they are. I just love them. The next and last thing, which I'm going to be harvesting today, are these potatoes, which I've been growing in these containers right back there along the fence. I just dragged them all over here because there's more space here for harvesting. So that's going to be our next harvest. I love harvesting potatoes. It is my favorite thing to harvest. Whoa, we have some beautiful potatoes in here. Look at these beautiful potatoes. Okay, so this is today's harvest. We've got lots of fresh, very crispy sounding greens, potatoes, our peas, and our short and sweet carrots. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and thank you so much for all of your love and kindness in my past videos. I am so shocked by how fast this YouTube channel is growing. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers, which I'm like, oh, wow, that was really fast. Thank you so much for all of your positive comments, your really kind comments. Thank you for all of your advice and stuff. I really, really do appreciate it. And I love sharing my garden content with you guys. I love working in the garden and I love building this little community on the internet. If you are new here, my name is Maggie and I love to make garden content. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.